Several weeks ago, we discussed the World Rally Drivers Alliance, or WRDA, standing up to the FIA's aggressive crackdown on swearing. Now, ahead of this week's Safari Rally Kenya, the situation has escalated, with drivers taking a more aggressive approach by protesting. Now, in support of Adrian Formo, who got fined for swearing during an interview at Rally Sweden, other World Rally Championship drivers have decided to protest the stage end interviews. During the shakedown in Kenya, some drivers refused to speak English and decided to speak in their native language, while others didn't say a word and remained silent. Tanak said they can't give any more stage end interviews until it's comfortable again for the drivers. WRDA have released this statement saying, "We all agree to keep rudeness at the microphone to a minimum. At the same time, it is necessary to maintain a certain freedom of expression and to keep emotions alive while driving. Drivers don't need to be afraid of getting punished in any way. We have asked the president of the FIA for some positive changes in the rules to help us achieve this goal. For the reasons explained in our statement, it is impossible for us to guarantee that we, drivers and co-drivers, will be able to follow these rules perfectly and systematically. This is why we, WRDA members, are now taking the responsible decision to remain silent at the end of interviews or to answer in our mother tongue. In the own interest of our sport, such as action is unfortunately needed, and we apologise to all the rally fans, even though we know they support us in this." Now, according to rally driver Gus Greensmith, the FIA president Mohammed Ben Sulayem sent them a well-timed email about 10 minutes before the shakedown. The FIA statement read, "The FIA, as well as many other international sports governing bodies, maintains a code of conduct that sets out what we expect from drivers and their teams. Drivers are looked up to as role models by young fans and are ambassadors for motorsport across the world. How drivers act at events really matters. The code's purpose is to promote the best in sportsmanship and respect. This includes expectations around language, which could be seen as offensive or inappropriate by the public. The rules and penalties are in line with those taken by our peer organisations and global sports championships. We recognise that this is crucial to assess situations on a case-by-case basis, but unnecessary profanity should not be condoned and does little to help promote and grow the sport with fans, sponsors and partners. In line with a similar meeting held with Formula One drivers in Melbourne last weekend, Ronan Morgan, president of the Drivers' Committee, along with Peter Solberg, vice president of the committee, and Amelia Abel, junior road sport director, are planning to discuss this matter and other topics with drivers after the Safari Rally Kenya. Now, in an interview with Dirt Fish, Tanak said the FIA says they need to be role models, but in his personal opinion, to be a role model, you should be able to be yourself and not change the way you are. He doesn't think the drivers are the ones who need to change, but the system itself needs to change, and that's why WRDA is fighting back against the FIA. The link to this article is in the video description below, and both graphics are courtesy of Dirt Fish. Kobe, starting with you, I've gone on to death about my opinion on Mohammed's BS over the past couple of weeks. I'm still firmly against him. There's been news coming out this week that Dave Richards, who was one of the members who was denied access to the World Motorsport Council meeting and was denied a vote, which is breach of regulation. So everything that was done at that meeting technically is illegal. He's now being told that he might run for president, but Mohammed Ben Sulayem has introduced a rule that anyone above the age of 70 can't run, but that's actually against the law in France, because France's age law says that he can actually run. So there's actually now a thing going there about it. But he obviously has been very much vocal about it. I've lost the question. But I've been very vocal about it. So is everybody. What are your thoughts on the latest actions from WRC leading up to Safari Rally Kenya? And of course, the FIA's response, which in my personal opinion, very much seems like something like out of 1984.
Yeah, Josh. Where do I begin with this? I'll just start off by saying that the World Rally Drivers Alliance, they're basically taking the Marshawn Lynch playbook. I'm just here so I don't get fined, and that's basically what the strategy is. And yeah, last time we talked about this story, we talked about how these drivers were very unhappy with the FIA basically making what hasn't been an issue, as I said during our last show on this topic, and they're just blowing it well out of proportion. I don't understand why the FIA continues to try to push this so-called swearing ban and all of that, because if you listen to most of the interviews, you don't really have a problem with them using profanity, every single word well, every single sentence of an interview. You might hear like an F-bomb or so, slip out every now and then, but it's just raw emotions, and I think that's what the fans want to see. Like I've said in the past, if these drivers, were just cussing, like a sailor, every single sentence, every breath, then that might be an issue. But if it's something that happens, like every once in a while, I don't think that's a big deal at all. And I say more power to the drivers, for continuing to fight back against the FIA. I think it's real funny how the FIA says that say that they need to be role models in this situation, because I know who's not a role model, and that's the FIA. Basically, when you look at the FIA, I would tell my kid if I had one, you do everything the FIA, you do the opposite of what the FIA is doing, because the FIA is not a good role model or a standard for success either. Because what this sanctioning body has become today, has been such a disappointment. I don't understand why they feel the need to say the things that they said in this statement. And I guess this story will continue on. I'm sure there will be some follow after Safari Rally Kenya. And once we have it, we'll cover it here on Grit Network, because I have a feeling that this story is far from over.
Yeah, absolutely. And the rally kicks off in Kenya tomorrow. We'll do our pick a winner shortly. So if you are in the pick a winner standings, make sure you get your pick in for Kenya, because the rally does kick off tomorrow. We've had shakedown today, which is like the free practice, basically, to use a circuit racing term. And that's when that statement dropped to everybody. And I've got a feeling from what I've read and heard today, they kind of thought something might be coming, so they already had this planned, the drivers and the co-drivers. I mean, I'm just frustratingly bored with having to talk about this on a week-to-week basis. I'm very surprised. As I said, we said a few weeks ago, Melbourne's coming up, it's all going to explode, and unfortunately, that for some, well, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever way you look at it, it was quite a quiet weekend on the FIA front. But now it's all transferred to WRC. So, I mean, Tanak is right. You think of the motorsport rally role models: Colin McRae, Travis Pastrana, Lewis Hamilton to some degree, Sebastian Vettel. The outspoken people that everyone looks at as I want to be like him or her. If they're all talking off a script, and did sound like Kimi Räikkönen did sound like that quite often, bless him. But if they're all talking in the same monosyllabic tone of voice, and that's not exciting. The stage end interviews at the end of the stages is part of the WRC broadcast. We get every single moment of the rally now live, and every car comes to the stop line and they talk to all of the drivers before they go on their merry way to the next stage. We're not going to get that this weekend now. Or if we are, and you're not in the English-speaking land, we're going to get Thierry Neuville in Flemish, we're going to get Kalle Rovanperä in Finnish, Katsuta in Japanese. That's fine, but they all were told, and everyone was supposed to learn English for this very reason. And they've started it off in the shakedown stage today. Elvin Evans did his interview in Welsh. So it just, some of the best WRC moments some of them are obviously in the stages, but a lot of them are at the stage ends where, this weekend you could have perhaps I had a massive moment. I was doing 200 kilometers an hour and a bleeping elephant walked out in front of me and I had to slam on the brake. Stuff like this we would have got in Kenya where, random things happen from time to time. But now we're going to get absolutely nothing. No doors being opened at the end of stages to see what the drivers have been up to. It's just going to be a pretty boring show. And if they do get together on, I guess, Sunday afternoon, once quite literally the dust has settled on the rally, maybe we can get some more forward thinking on this and not this completely backwards thinking that we're going down the trail of at the moment.
Yeah, Matt, I said before you jump in, Josh, I just wanted to add, so what you said, Matt, like what the drivers are doing, I totally understand why they're doing this, and I said, yeah, I understand it, and I respect what they're doing and all that, but at the end of the day, like you said, at the stage in interviews, besides great moments we see during the rallies, this is one of the most exciting parts where you can see the raw emotion when they get out of the car and talk about how they were feeling. So now, well, if this continues, throughout the end of the Kenya rally, which it looks like it will, or if it spills into future rally events in the coming weeks and months ahead, that's just going to hurt the overall product of World Rally Championship, and that's something that that we don't want to see. But the drivers are taking their hard stance, and they're trying to see what the FIA is going to do. Because I'm sure the FIA, doesn't want to see the overall product hurt in a way like this, where we're the only ones who are going to be enjoying the interviews for the drivers who do choose to speak, be people who understand that language, and also delays coverage as well, because if we're covering World Rally Championship, we don't understand what someone is saying, we have to try to get a translator, try to figure it out or whatever, wait for someone else to translate it and read it on, a site from their country, or, obviously you stay silent, you get no content at all. So for all the people out there, reporters, broadcasters who want to get content, you're going to be very limited at what type of content you're going to be able to get this weekend. So hopefully this situation will be resolved. I understand why the drivers are doing this. It just unfortunate, for everyone all around where you won't be able to get what you typically get from these broadcasts.
Yeah, I guess we're probably still going to get the service park interviews like at lunchtime and at the end of the day. I guess that's still going to happen, but that's not an instant reaction to something that's happened. We're not going to have Molly Pettit open the door and go, what happened to your rear wing? And the driver go, I don't know what happened to my rear wing. I've got no idea, because that's happened multiple times in the last couple of years that I can remember off the top of my head. Oh, you had a big moment in there, and they're like, did I? It didn't feel like a big moment to me. This happened before. I want to say it was like 7 or 8 years ago, and I think it was at Rally Spain where they did a protest over something, and they did it on day one, and then at the end of the day, whatever the issue was resolved, and the rest of the weekend ran as normal. So perhaps we'll get the same outcome this weekend, but this is more on the drivers taking a stand, and fair play to them.
Praying to the racing gods out there as well, just hoping that happens as well. Nicholas, so I take it that if a driver says a bad word, they're out a month. That's stupid. Yeah, it's a 10,000 euro, isn't it?
Yeah, so Nicholas, to catch you up, Adrian Formeau, who Josh mentioned on Rally Sweden, when was that? Beginning of February. He said the F-bomb at the end of a stage because he made an error where he had to stop in the stage because he didn't do his helmet up properly. And he was like, I can't go on, I need to stop and sort this out because it's not safe. And he put his hands up, I've made a mistake, I effed up, as he said. And now he's effed up even more because he's got 10K to pay. This is off the back of all of the stuff that happened in F1 at the end of last year. So it's rolling around in all of the FIA championships, unfortunately, at the moment. And it's now, as we talked about the other week when this came up with the Werder stuff, it's now the WRC's chance to take a stand against it.
Honestly, just let the driver say what they want. Took the words right out of my mouth, Nicholas. Absolutely. MBS is clueless and the FIA is beyond crazy. Well, I'm wearing green for St. Paddy's Day. That was over the weekend. Maybe we should all start speaking Irish. Are you ready for this as well?
No, let's.
Yeah, have you seen that? Do you know where I was going with that?
Yeah.
Oh, but we can say it. It's like in The Good Place. Drivers need to start talking like it's The Good Place with the instead of the S word, you can say like shirt and things like that, and like fork instead. Like what you hear with Gunther Steiner. Gunther Steiner, he had it all along, didn't he? He was swearing by saying it all along. He had the right idea. But no, honestly, go on, what are you gonna say? Something there, Kobe?
Oh, I would say, or I'm mucked up here.
Yes, yeah. Just
okay.
honestly, I can't. Just get rid of Mohammed Ben Salam. Come on, Susie Wolf, Dave Richards, and whoever else wants to take him on, hit this man out of office very quickly.
Absolutely, I would be in favour of David Richards and Susie as the vice. That would absolutely work tremendously well.
They would get shirt done.
Shirt done. Would get done. Absolutely right.
That should be their slogan. Getting shirt done. That's what it should be. Get rid of MBS. Mohammed's BS we've had enough. Go. Goodbye. And my response to this is that the drivers have got the right thing. Get rid of him.
MFI AGA. Make the FIA great again.
That's the only one I would get behind, to be fair. But we're going to hand over to you now, Mark. But my solidarity with the WEC driver, with the Word Association.
Mic drop.